first story that we're going to talk about today. Hard data now showing that Singapore is eclipsing Hong Kong and China. I think probably we kind of felt this and knew this empirically, but give us the details on what's happening with this.
Yes, well, the Global Private Capital Association, which tracks private capital investments, so private equity, venture capital, infrastructure, real estate, all types of capital. The data is clear that Southeast Asia overall, India as well, is eclipsing China when it comes to private capital investment. And this is where the money,
like FDI kind of stuff?
No, this is when, a private equity firm says, we're going to write a check for $200 million into a company like Gojek, or we're going to write or GoTo now, or into a Grab, or into any of those types of privately held companies before they go public. And so the smart money is that if you look long term, the place to be is Southeast Asia, with the headquarters being Singapore. And so for the first time ever, you not only saw what we call private capital exits from Southeast Asia beating China, and you could attribute that to COVID zero and the inability to go and do deals in China because you can't get your money out because you can't go in. But it's not only the exits, it's the investments. And these investments have a 5-10 year time horizon. And people are saying the smart place to put money where you're going to make the most money, Southeast Asia, it's India, it's not China anymore. And that's why you're seeing Singapore become the financial services hub for Asia.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, anecdotally, I saw some of this week. I went to an international school, and they have seen an influx of students from Hong Kong. So it's happening, Steve. But in real terms, putting on my proletarian hat for a second, as opposed to just the usual private capitalists and hedge funds, let's talk about the trickle down, the ecosystems. How does this benefit Singapore in the long term?
Well, I mean, what you see happening, right, is that the new businesses that need the money to grow, right, to grow and become the next unicorns and decacorns and really make a difference in people's lives, they get the funding now. And Singapore is leading the way for Web3 in the region. Now, I'm going to not ask Neil to explain what Web3 is. I'm going to ask Alden to explain what Web3 is.
I was going to say, can someone please explain Web3? Is that the new...
Okay, Alden's coming on.
That's the third Spider-Man movie, right? That's the third Spider-Man movie.
Tell us what Web3 is.
I have no idea what Web3 is.
Come on.
Web3 is all these companies that are about decentralization and blockchain. So when you have decentralized finance and you don't have to go through the formal banking system, or you have platforms where you can do all of your work.
I have one of those platforms
things
on my phone. Wow, there you go.
So, for example, in Singapore, KuCoin, KUCOIN, received $150 million investment private investment, because this is, so the private investment comes first, and then you lead to, venture capital comes in, and then private equity comes in, and then you lead to your IPOs. And so Singapore is seeing, when the money's here, so all of these new entrepreneurs are coming here, setting up shop, creating new companies. And that's what's making Singapore such a dynamic place and so attractive for people Alden's age and not our age to come here and set up businesses.
What is this? What is the perhaps unintended consequence here as we come in, as Singapore gets more popular? We've already seen it happening in the real estate market, right? People are being literally priced out of the market on a lot of different levels, especially the private condos and apartments and things like that. So is the risk of hyperinflation or further inflation that what we've already seen real because of the inflows?
It's not necessarily inflation, but it's just a simple law of supply and demand here, right? When you only have so much supply, and when you increase demand and you don't increase supply, prices go up. That's not inflation. I mean, that's economics 101. That's in. But look, you're going to be dealing with higher costs here, especially if you're looking at where the market is most limited. International schools, a perfect example. Housing for expatriates outside the HDB system, that is going to be more expensive. Like, I'm going to Manila, $1,400. I mean, I'm row 60. I mean, this is the back of the airplane.
Have you even seen row 60 before?
Not since a DC-10.
But that's how, I mean, everything is now it'll balance itself out over time. But so you have, it's a good problem to have. You'd much rather have this problem than what Hong Kong's going through right now, which is the reverse. So it's a good problem to have. Singapore's had this, you know, pre-GFC, there was you saw some of this. What did they do? More international schools got built.
Right.
They put more restrictions on expats. They gave advantages to those types of companies that worked with their Singapore employees, to give them training, to give them international assignments. So yeah, Singapore has experience in this. I have no doubt that they're going to do it well. But the data is showing that it is going to continue, and that the money that's coming in here now is not a bet on what's going to happen for the next 6 to 12 months. It's what's going to happen for the next 5, 10 years and beyond.
Wow.
And people see that the future in Southeast Asia with Singapore as the hub is very, very bright.
Interesting.